Yo, welcome back, everybody. Let me fix my mic, make sure everything is going good. Welcoming Miss Shaina Glass to the show today. Want to say hello to everybody that's catching the program. How y'all doing? So let's get right into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today. We are recording Miss Shaina V. Glass. Shaina, I think, and I may have grown up in the same town. It's amazing, first of all of the educators that I have been able to surround myself with. Um, so Shaina grew up in the same town that I grew up in, and she went off to go work in Aldine ISD. I met Shaina. I'm back and forth again. I think Shaina was in the same grade as my little brother, and who was a pretty good educator in his own right. He does really big things in the space of the college realm. So Shaina then goes to uh, the University of Sam Houston, I think, and then she goes to Aldine ISD and is very successful there as a administrator and teacher, and then she then goes to the Computer Science Teachers Association. So we will be talking with her very shortly. I want to say hello to everybody who's catching the stream, whatever platform that you're catching the stream. Hey, this is going to be a great year coming up. The new mask mandate seems to be a really big, huge deal in education currently right now. If you are going to be wearing a mask this year, go ahead and send it to me in the chat. Let me know how you feel about this mask mandate. It seems that everybody has an opinion on it. I don't know if you guys had a chance to catch that school board meeting, and I can't remember the city, but I do have it in my Flipboard EDU magazine where those parents took over that school board meeting for about 7 minutes because they were going to ask the students or going to allow students the ability to come back to school with masks on. That's a huge deal for us right now. You know, it's a controversial topic, most definitely. However, it's something I think that teachers ought to have a safe space to talk about it. I will not tell your principal, and I will not broadcast your opinion. However, you can join our Flipboard EDU magazine, and feel free to make your comments there. You're welcome to, and it's quite all right that you can. We don't have a problem with that because we predicate ourselves on talking with the best educators in the world. So I definitely want to make sure that that is kept, that we continue to do that. So in the meantime, while I wait on my guests, I'm going to play a little bit of the countdown videos. All right, welcome back. So I want to point out something that I really am very happy about is our Flipboard EDU website, where you can find all of our previous episodes from the Flipboard EDU podcast. And on our website, you can find a bunch of episodes, love it to death. They are categorized here from episode 52 all the way down to the beginning. We are on every major podcasting station, so you should be able to find us and enjoy it. We would love for you to share our podcast with an educator or a colleague. Also, too, I want to especially give a shout out to our editors and our workers with the Flipboard Educators blog that's found on flipboard.com. And we will get to that spot. When you get to Flipboard EDU podcast, you just click on the screen at the top and it will take you to the Flipboard EDU podcast magazine that is for educators. And let me show you what that looks like. It's a beautiful interface here that has all the articles that goes with every single episode. So the last episode that we did was my good friend Mike Olson at Acting Academy. Have some very distinguished guests like Sherry Gunther Sugarman from Kazubadu, uh, my man Vernon Wright, and my homeboy Coach Gabriel, and the librarian perspective, and good old Casey. So this is some really good information to share. Something that also too is that Flipboard does put their articles here as well. So this is a really good place to get information, and we also feature educators here on the Flipboard EDU podcast. In this, the blog, it is also edited and um, I guess you could say, I guess it's edited by Mia Quadrulo, good friends over there at Flipboard. We have the good friend that also edits the magazine, Crystal Vanderboom and Aileen Laylor. And I just want to thank you ladies right now while I am stalling, while I'm waiting on my guests to show up. So I will throw in just another quick video while we wait for our guests to come up. Are you an educator who is looking for ways to engage your students in the classroom? Do you want to create an interactive learning experience that will help them develop critical thinking skills and become more creative? Imagine having a tool that allows you to curate, organize, and share content from all over the web with your students in one place. With Flipboard magazines, you can easily collect articles, videos, images, websites, and other digital content into beautiful magazines that are organized by topic or subject area. These magazines can be shared with anyone, including parents. The Flipboard EDU podcast speaks to educators using the Flipboard app in education, as well as addressing important topics to educators. We explore how educators are using this tool to enhance instruction and engage in 21st century learning. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey, and we are found everywhere you listen to podcasts. So like we always do about this time, let's collaborate, communicate, and educate with Flipboard. Are you an educator who is looking for ways to engage your students in the classroom? Do you want to create an interactive learning experience that will help them develop critical thinking skills and become more creative? Imagine having a tool that allows you to curate, organize, and share content from all over the web with your students in one place. With Flipboard magazines, you can easily collect articles, videos, images, websites, and other digital content into beautiful magazines that are organized by topic or subject area. These magazines can be shared with anyone, including parents. The Flipboard EDU podcast speaks to educators using the Flipboard app in education, as well as addressing important topics to educators. We explore how educators are using this tool to enhance instruction and engage in 21st century learning. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey, and we are found everywhere you listen to podcasts. So like we always do about this time, let's collaborate, communicate, and educate with Flipboard. Man, I really like the way that sounds. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. As we wait, let me also show you Flipboard. I love using Flipboard as an educator. And as I learn to use these tools, I am going to go to open up me a new window. And that's not the window what I want to do. I guess there's really no way for me to do what I want to do yet. Hold up. I really got to figure this out. I'm gonna figure this out. Let me not do this on live on air, but I love using Flipboard as an educator, especially during post COVID. Definitely gonna find a way to communicate um, richly and across all platforms. You want to definitely use Flipboard to do that. It's easy. If it's on the web, you could put it in a Flipboard magazine. One of the issues that I find as an administrator when we're communicating with parents and students is that when you put it on Facebook, or you put something in Twitter that parents have to scroll and go back to. Flipboard is a really easy tool to keep all of your content together, and it can be displayed in such a way that people can come back to it very easily. So for that one purpose, just for communicating, just stakeholder information to a community, um, that's a reason why I love using Flipboard as an educator. Another tool to use it for is to communicate with students, specifically if you want to engage students. And we also need to look at this because this is going to be important this year. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Michael Milstead because we talked about this earlier today about building relationships. I don't know of another app readily available that will help you to build a relationship faster than Flipboard. Now, I know there are several different ones and everybody has their favorite, but Flipboard allows you to build a relationship simply because of everything that you can put inside of it. You can put a playlist inside of your Flipboard magazine. You can put podcasts inside of your Flipboard magazine. You can put articles inside of a Flipboard magazine. You could put YouTube videos inside of a Flipboard magazine. And all of that information is readily available to anybody who wants to use it. It's on their mobile device and it's on their computer. So it's a really useful tool to use. So I use it. I love it. I use it in the classroom when I was teaching, and um, I advise any teacher to use it. We will have some tutorials coming up pretty soon. I'm working on some tutorials so that you can see, basically how to use it. I think it's a great tool, and it's an underutilized tool for education, and I would love to see every educator use it. See if I have any questions on my dashboard. And I'm just currently just waiting on my guest to come in, Miss Glass. Okay, I think we have some technical difficulties. Let me pause this for a second. Hold up. Hey there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Now you know my name spelled wrong.
Oh, it is. Golly. Hold on. Let me correct that real quick.
It's INA.
INA. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Let me.
This is awesome though.
Oh, thank you very much. Let me hold on, I'm sorry.
This
The
looks
good thing is,
beautiful.
thank you so much. And we live. We live at 5. That's a that's good. Ain't nothing like getting corrected in public. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Hey, but at
It
least I got the
always
video.
happens. It always happens. You're not the only one.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let me get you on. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna count it down, and we are currently recording, so that's great. All right. We're gonna record. I'm gonna count it down, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the questions. And thank you for coming on the show before I get started.
Oh, you're welcome.
All
Anytime.
right. Great. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey, and I have another amazing guest here tonight. I have Miss Shaina Glass. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for being here. I'm
Excellent.
excited to join you.
Excellent. Shaina, tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself.
So I am. Ooh, where do I begin? So I'm an educator with 16 years of experience that um, finished my master's degree in instructional technology, got plucked from the classroom and into educational technology in Aldine ISD. From there, I became, I guess, immersed in computer science and STEM. I integrated that in my classroom for a number of years prior to being plucked, but started asking questions and digging deeper, and went from the coordinator of computer science and STEM to the program director for technology applications in STEM at Aldine. And very recently, right before I'm talking with you, I this past year I was a fellow, a CSTA Equity Fellow, um, which is a year-long program for educators who are trying to disrupt the status quo in computer science education. And as I'm wrapping that up, I just accepted a position as the professional learning manager for CSTA. For those of you who may not know, that is the Computer Science Teachers Association, which is I say it's the equivalent of ISTE, but for computer science.
Excellent. And I love that. And so I probably jumped the gun on my question. Let me go back here. Well, that's great. I'm having a great day. I skipped question 2. So my question and I wanted to talk to you about that because as I was doing some research on you, because I think, first of all, before we go any further, I think that we went to the same school district, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think we went to Waller ISD. I think we
Who the
started.
bulldog?
Oh Lord, yes, I think we are both graduates of Waller High School. I probably could have started with that. When you said tell us a little about yourself, I was like, well, does he want me to go back? Like, do I go way back?
Oh,
I mean, especially I know you are an alum of Prairie View A&M University. My mom actually taught at Prairie View A&M, which is why I was attending Waller ISD,
wow.
because we lived out where she worked. So
Excellent, excellent. And shout out to the Prairie View and Panthers. I want to talk to you about the computer science initiative as I was doing my research on you and looking at how computer science, how and why there's a stance on trying to diversify computer science. And the question that I have up in front of us is that computer science and racism or anti-racism is becoming more of a discussion lately. And my question to you is, why do you think that is?
so I'm going to start off by, a lot of people believe that this is something new. Um, as in the world today, this is conversations that's being had. about being an anti-racist. There's books, very reputable books out discussing being an anti-racist, getting people who are not of color to recognize those of color to recognize and accept. It's not, you don't dissolve that you are a person of color. You own it and walk in it. I think of late in computer science, and I'll say of late as maybe like the last 5 years, the realization that there's not enough students of color actually taking the courses to field here in the United States was becoming an issue. There's not enough women, girls actually interested or pursuing it. That's what was stated, that they're not. It's not that they're not necessarily interested. They don't see enough people that look like them. And, you see all shades and colors, genders, whatever in education. But in the actual field, it's a trickle down effect, and it's highly political. Industry is not representational of all. Corporate is not representational of all. And that trickles all the way down, even to the teachers who teach our students. So we're trying to get them into more urban educational settings, more Title I districts. And it's hard to find teachers that look like the students they serve, because most of them didn't get the degree in it. So now you have to diversify that, which then forces all of us to address the issues of our own biases. Because if you don't look like the kids, you have to address the issue that, okay, even though I don't look like them, they can do exactly what I'm doing. Everybody can do, you can learn the same way I'm learning. That's how I see it. That's where it's going. That's the continuous conversation. And there's critical conversations that have to be had, but that makes people very uncomfortable.
Yes, and that is okay. So let me give just a slight situation that I think happened. There was a director of STEM job that came open, and I applied for it. And during the interview process, one of the questions was asked about STEM versus STEAM, and I said, because I know you said earlier, well, STEM has something slightly to do with computer science.
Absolutely.
Okay. So as I was giving my definition, I said that I think that we need to incorporate the arts into the STEM program because it's beneficial for students of color. And I don't think the committee that was interviewed liked my answer to that.
Hmm.
How do you feel about that
STEM
scenario?
versus STEAM.
Yeah.
So I get it quite a bit. I did work directly with STEM, and computer science does fall directly, inadvertently in line with STEM. Um, I don't believe you need to add an A to STEM. I'm not an advocate for the adding the A in STEM, because if you understand the science, the technology, engineering as a whole, and mathematics, creativity is built into every aspect of STEM. So for many, they feel like I feel like people who want that A want you to advocate for arts. So they're usually people who are specifically in art, who want to make sure it's incorporated. But you don't have to say the A if you truly understand the definition of STEM. So, like, for instance, just in computer science, going in that line, there's many of the classes, a lot right now, students really love learning Python, learning how to program in Python. Reason is because most of it starts with animation. Everything they do is designing an animation. It's about their creativity. It's about the color. It's about the pixels. It's about bringing things together, showing how it evolves, how it shifts constantly. But it's building an animation. Do we need to say that's STEAM? You know what I mean? Do you have to say that students who program in Python are learning in STEAM? I was talking with another director in theater arts, and he was like, well, I want us to program in music. And I was like, well, when people in the music industry, when they are laying tracks and overlapping music, that's actually programming. So do we have to say that that's STEAM? Do we have to say we're incorporating that in STEAM as in the field? That's STEM. That's a STEM profession. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying and I'm not saying when I say I'm not an advocate for the A, I'm most definitely an advocate for art. My bachelor's degree is in fine arts. So I am heavily visual, and I'm a visual learner. But I do that inherently. So I don't need you to add an extra letter, just like some people want to add an R. What is that for reading, robotics? Like you're gonna keep going until you done made a whole sentence, when all of it falls into the four. So if I can show you how this actually works, and I'm upset that the people in the interview didn't get that, but it's a trend, and it's what's popular. So those in the room were advocating for art when they never seen STEM without art. You've never seen it.
I cannot picture STEM without an artistic value anyway.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah. And I can't do it. And I'm just,
I've never
it
done
wasn't meant to be. Yeah. It's never meant to be. And so I know that you now work for the Computer Science Association. And I would like for you, this is almost a rhetorical question, but I would like for you to speak to their support of educating all students.
Okay, so let me go and tell you my story on CSTA, and hopefully this answers your question. So when I took my role in Aldine, when I became the person representing K through 12 computer science, I didn't know who to turn to. I was asking questions in district, and they were looking at me like a deer caught in headlights. They still do, even to this day. But because they didn't know what that was, and where do you get support for that, and who else is supporting it? Like where do you go? It's just like when I was in the classroom and I was wanting to expand in technology, and I took the job in instructional technology, and my boss at the time said, yeah, ISTE. And I was like, oh, okay, so what's that? I didn't know. And I looked into it. It was a very expensive endeavor, but I didn't know anything other. And that was the only place I knew to go. I didn't even know of TCEA. So I spent the money to learn with those in the same field. The same came when I was asking questions about computer science. Like I got the gist of it. I can do the research, but where is the support system? And then somebody mentioned CSTA. We had a CSTA. We have a CSTA in Houston. I went to the meeting. It was like a half dozen people. I was like, this is kind of odd. How can I get additional support? Like, can you tell me what you guys are doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? But they were mostly teachers. They weren't in leadership positions supporting computer science to support teachers. I did a little digging. CSTA has lots of funding structures and support, financial support, as they help benefit directly to the industry. So I reached out and they provided me with a scholarship. Lots of people didn't even know about CSTA. So they had lots of money to give. I went to the conference. I went straight to the conference, right? That was weird and different because you normally build a network. And I'm not new to the game of professional learning, as you know, building my PLN in the ed tech field. It's all about building community and knowing who to turn to. Like you reached out to me in a DM, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? I mean, it's just that easy. Right, exactly. It's just that easy. But in computer science, there's lots of there's still things that aren't quite open, including people, especially people that look like us, look like me, right? So this led me, when I went, I seen about the Equity Fellow my first year. And I was like, okay, I must be a part of this. I need to know. I don't even care what it is. If they're trying to make it more equitable so that it doesn't look like this, I need to be a part of that. Meaning there was not that many, I make this saying, and hopefully it's not too overt. You walk in a room and you look for the pepper and the salt. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I think that was very clear.
well,
Are we talking
every
about
time
black
people,
pepper or white pepper?
yes. Well,
Just to be clear.
oh,
Are we talking?
I don't think it's black pepper. I mean white pepper. I don't think it's white. You would have found it if it was white pepper. But yeah, I could have even used an example of red pepper in the song, But you stand out like a sore thumb because it wasn't enough. You go in a room and you automatically start to see it's inherited. It's like going to a family reunion. You're looking for your mom or your cousin. Even in a room. All right, I gotta find. It wasn't enough. So the Equity Fellowship, it enticed me. I applied the first year. I didn't get in for the first cohort. I was like, the second cohort, look, I need you to understand my hearts. I need you to know why I'm doing this. And more so, what are you doing, to make change? I needed to see it right at the root. Because when you're in this fellowship, you get directly to the root of CSTA and how it is educating and supporting all students, coming from the lens of all teachers. So they wanted to find those teachers and educators in the field like me. And from day one, you hit home. It's like a root ball. You get right to the core of why people are doing what they do to change this. Computer science is just like STEM. It is that little nugget right now. Woo, we need that, right? But the people who were in this weren't in this for that nugget. Just like, I'm just trying to do this to do this. No, we were in it because you're tired of not seeing people provide these opportunities for all students. You're tired of leadership not understanding. CSTA is an organization that is that's built off of chapters. So it's literally satellite locations of CSTA in every state, in every major city, even in rural settings. Some rural settings, there's one for the whole state, right? But those leaders are the backbone of the organization because they go in and they target all of the local areas, local school districts, small private schools, charter schools. Those are the ones who provide them the resources and support and knowledge on how to teach students in computer science. And that's how you reach out students.
Hey, you know what? I really appreciate that you broke it down in that fashion, how you started with yourself. I know that you recently changed roles and you told us about that and you accepted this higher calling to supporting other educators. Why did you make that switch?
Ooh. So this must be God. Look at
Ooh-wee.
Lord. Lord. Look at Coach Jeff. Look at God. Okay. So real talk. Okay. This
Hey,
fellowship.
don't before we go real talk, I don't want you to get yourself in trouble.
No, there's no trouble because look,
Okay.
I love my job. Everyone, that job was created specifically for me to continue to do what was needed for the students of Aldine.
Amen.
I pushed very hard. I set this up. I laid this out. I doggone almost killed myself trying to, just because I knew what it needed. It actually needs more. It needs more people. It can't be done by a single person. But that was a lot. And I didn't want to leave. When I interviewed for CSTA, and they know it, I mean, I'm saying it publicly. They asked me, as most interviews do, what is a question that we didn't ask? So I asked. I said, you didn't ask me why was I leaving? And they was like, yeah, we didn't. I said, I'm not. And they were like, what? So why are you interviewing? I was like, I am interviewing because why am I applying for this position? Because I am a bowl of cereal. Okay, I got this bowl, and Aldine is one Cheerio. And I use this analogy because I eat cereal. I used to eat cereal at work every morning. And I was like, Aldine is this one Cheerio. I eat this Cheerio every day. I know what I need to do. I know the levels that must be done, but I take this Cheerio every day. But what about the rest of the bowl? My position at Aldine was to serve all of those students and those teachers. And I could see it. I had a 3-year goal, and I was setting the next 3 years in motion. I was ready. However, I can reach so many more. You know, even this morning, one of the principals was like, you laid out our entire plan for our school. What do we do? Can we meet next week? I no longer work for that district, but I will. Because even though I'm not there, I can still serve and support all of the teachers and students. It's not just about those students. It's about as many as I can reach. Does that make sense?
Man,
So
so much so.
the switch was very difficult. If you, many, even even right now, there's a lot of people don't even know I'm gone until my email bounced back. But I'm so connected. They didn't know because they had my cell. They didn't know because they sent me a DM. They didn't know because we're on chat. They didn't know because I'm still supporting them. You know, it shouldn't be that I can't support you.
Mhm.
It's just I'm not limiting the amount of support I can provide.
Yes, 100%. And I like that answer. And I like to piggyback this when people say good stuff like this. I just always say that inside of a seed is a forest. And everything that seed needs, once it's put in the right environment, that seed will grow a tree. That tree will produce fruit. Fruit will fall from that tree. That those fruits will have other seeds, and inside of that is a forest. And you just have to be in the right environment at the right time. And the issue is, you will never grow your forest unless you put yourself in the right environment. And so I'm very proud of you. I'm glad to see that you are continuing to put yourself in the right environment so that you can produce your forest.
Mm, I hope I laid that seed where I was so that that can continue because I was the seed. Um,
Mhm.
I give a lot of kudos and thanks to my leadership because she seen it in me and she
Mhm.
supported me nourishing this little seed, this little mustard seed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the seed is in the ground and it is flourishing. Um, Now it was time for me to take the fruit and expand my garden. And I love your analogy. Um, I truthfully love your analogy. Makes it so much so that I want to go out in my backyard and till my garden. I have a garden, but it needs to be pruned. It needs some work after all this rain we didn't had. But I completely get it, and I thank you for this opportunity to speak to you because you know mm, it's been I haven't started yet. I start in a couple weeks, so I'm getting my life together. So I'm in this little corner over here, but this room is changing and evolving to be able to nurture my garden of whatever is going to come from this journey. And I know what I'll be working on. I know what direction I'll be heading and things that I'll start. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah. And when I, you know what, when I picture you, just from knowing the work that you did in Aldine and all those good people, you guys had a great conference that y'all would put on out there. And there was a lot of great changes and y'all did a lot of amazing things. I know that you were in the center of that. And so, that's the thing about educators. Our job is to be uh, educators and their bosses. Our job is to be farmers. And we're supposed to recognize talent, or if you want to call it a seed, and we're supposed to put it in the right environment, and we're supposed to nurture. And if we're doing our job right, like your boss
Just
did,
keep
then you
going.
would be able to go to the next level. And there's nothing
Yes.
wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that at all.
Yes, you are so correct in your statement. I'm reading your question on the screen. Because you know, it so when you've done it just like I have, when you go through a process of exploring new opportunities,
Mhm.
you have to reflect because you're forced to, because you got to
Yeah,
get your resume right?
right, right, right.
And that forces you to pull what you've done. And I always just say it in passing, the stuff that I do. I'm like, yeah, I did this. Yeah, I'm doing this and this and this. And then the list, like the I can't tell you in 5 minutes. Like it was that much. It was ridiculous. The amount of work. um, but it forces you to look back. And this year has been very uh, pivotal in my career as I look back to when I started teaching. So the students that I started teaching, and I taught only third and fourth. Okay.
Mhm.
The students that I taught, I got one more year. My last year in the classroom, these kids will be graduating from high school this school year. But the ones this year was the first year I cataloged every moment of their year. So I had their very first day of school photos. I had, you like I had just finished my master's. So I was integrating everything. My classroom was no longer limited by brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Um, so and I mean that intentionally. Um, I never believed in staying within the four compounds of four walls. So we always were outside. But this year I was able that's this school year with those students, I was able to do a lot of it digitally. So
Mhm.
the parents of those kids, they've been moved all over the city. They reached out to me to come to the graduation parties. And I
Wow.
came with the videos and the images showing them when I taught them. The first day when I told them that I would never leave them, like that I would
Mhm.
always be with them, that I would always support them. And they were astonished. And I was in tears because so many of them came. Um, and they all remembered exactly what we did. They remembered exactly where they were in my room. They remember the opportunities that tied them to help them decide what they want to do when they go to college. I tell a new educator today, you're in 2021. This is your first year. You walking in the classroom. I actually, I do some work with Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes, I do. I do. I know about that.
Yes, Lord, just raindrops. This is such an
Yeah,
amazing group.
it is.
Um, but I started doing some work with them where I provide support to first year teachers and those even those who are not in their first year yet. And one young lady, I had mentioned to them a few things that I feel like every first year teacher should do. Make sure you're on LinkedIn. Make sure you connected. Make sure you have a way to connect with other educators. Uh, that changed my life. Not saying LinkedIn, but the connections with other educators. And I
Yes.
know they're gonna be like, oh, well, they're my neighbor teacher. Mm-mm-mm-mm. No. I'm not talking about the people in that building.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
talking about you as an educator,
Mhm.
because there's educators all over the country, all over the globe. Find
Yes.
those who are like you, right? To
Mhm.
empower and uplift you, because you're gonna need that.
Yes.
Especially if you have melanin, a lot of melanin in your skin. You're going to need that,
Mhm.
especially in your field. not just as an education, but maybe you are a STEM teacher.
Yeah.
That's a limited number of educators who have that diverse experience. Find those like you. Start there. 2, catalog, capture those images. So I told him, I asked, I said, well, how are you on social media? And, they college students. So they was like, they're not getting my Instagram. And I was like, no, they don't need that Instagram. They need your professional Instagram. They need your
Right.
professional Twitter. I don't care what you do on the other side, but you might want to watch that. We talk about being a digital citizen, but because depending on the grades you teach, well, it don't even matter. That's it, because some of those baby teach kindergarten, those parents are about the same age as you, so they're gonna find you the same way you find people. So just be
Exactly.
cautious, But I told them, I said, one of them, she stayed after, and she was like, I haven't been on social media in years. I said, start with your feet. She was like, what? I said, capture your feet. Stand up and capture where you stand. Let that be your first image on Instagram. I said, I did it at an ed camp years ago, and it was like, put your feet together, look down, and make a stance of yourself, that I'm right here, I'm starting this, right? To remember, I said, and it doesn't have to be that you have to capture kids, because she was still in student teaching. I said, but you can capture where your journey, capture the school, capture the door, capture those chairs, anticipation of the students, capture the things. I said, and you go over students' shoulders, not their face, but the action, because me looking back, it's my why. It's the reason why I keep going. When I see those, one little girl, she graduated. I watched the graduation. I was boo-hooing with her mama. It's like I was her mama. She said, Miss Glass, I still need your help. She's like, I'm going into a STEM field, but I don't know which courses to take. I don't know what direction to go. Can you help me? I said, absolutely. And then she was waiting on me to say this. I said, if I don't know how, I'll find out. She was like, you used to always say that. I said, and it's true. It's even more true today. You're a young woman trying to go into a STEM field. We have to stick together. I understand. I understand more now than I did when I taught you the value and the importance of that. So you lean on those who've been in the journey, because that's how we're going to propel them to stay in it and actually be completers in STEM fields, actually become that psychologist and that microbiologist and that nurse, to become that programmer. It's not easy, and it's nothing like it was in high school. Whatever they doing in high school, it's nothing like college. So that's what I would definitely suggest to educators in their journey. If you haven't started, if you're not a first year teacher, but you haven't started what I said, and there's so many who haven't, start today. Look into it. Look me up.
Yes, look her up. I love the fact that capture where you are, because currently now, I didn't start off as an administrator, and when times get rough, I need to build my portfolio as why I feel school leadership is important. So when my days get rough, I need to remember where I stand, because I would never stand in that place if it wasn't for all of the steps I took in order for me to get there. So I appreciate you sharing that nugget with me, because that's something that I am definitely going to do. As a matter of fact, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a picture of where I stand in my office. I'm gonna put that on my wall as a picture, just as so that when I come in, it motivates my own self that I would never be standing right here if it wasn't for my steps being ordered through the door. Amen. Holla at your boy.
Amen.
Watch out.
Amen. Amen. You have no idea. I look back, I have it on my Instagram. The day I took it, I had a little nasty, little dirty, because I cleaned my rubs in my classroom, little rough shoes on, little tennis shoes. You know how teachers got to get your stuff together. I always look back at that pic. like I'm here right now. Think about where I've gone from where I was at that moment.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the pivotal images in my career, looking back. And I thank Ed Camp, the Ed Camp organization, for that unstructured professional development,
Yeah.
because it helped me grow into who I am, understanding that you learn everywhere you are and you learn with whoever you're with. It doesn't have to be an organized, structured program PD. Um, those organic moments are probably some of the most pivotal moments in your professional growth.
Man, I love Ed Camp, and that's something that I'm gonna try to revive where I'm at. I think that was it's pivotal in my career as well. I met some amazing people like you, like Dr. Sarah
Yes,
Thomas, like
yes, Nicole.
Nicole,
Yes,
Rochelle Wooten was in. It was
yes.
so
Look
many
at you!
people that
Look
I
at you
just met.
dropping nuggets. Look
Like
at you
like
dropping
like
nuggets.
I only copied off what they did. I was like, man, they could do that. And Shelly Sanchez Terrell and all these other
Yes,
amazing people, Carl Hooker. So the only reason
yes.
why I'm able to meet any of these people was exactly what you said, and I appreciate you bringing that out. So we're coming down to the ending part of our show. Where can our listeners find you at?
So you can definitely find me on LinkedIn. My name is the same across the board. So if you look, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram. I'm revising my Instagram now. I just went Instagram business. So we're gonna see how that goes. Because I'm working on my brand,
Yeah,
tightening up my
yeah,
brand. It's pretty tight. Like I have a pretty solid stance on social media. I'm
yeah,
definitely on Twitter. I am, my site will be up shortly. It is up, but
mhm,
it's being revised, and that's
yeah,
all of it still the same. Everything is Shaina V Glass. If you look me up anywhere, you'll find it. And the V
yeah.
is for Victoria. So if you are on Facebook, I'm on there too by the same name. Um, yeah, so any and everywhere. I am also, if you're in the Houston area and you are interested, you do not have to be a computer science teacher to be a part, but I'm currently the president of CSTA Greater Houston. So you can definitely find me there. So if you go to csteachers.org, you'll find me on there. You'll see me soon doing a lot more work in that arena, as that's my new profession, which is crazy. I'm also a regional partner manager for code.org under the University of Texas at Austin. So you can also find me with We Teach CS, which is the state of Texas computer science hub. They do everything computer science. So lots of work that still must be done. I'm excited to continue to get a chance to do that. And anybody who wants to find out more, just just do a Google search. I promise I'll pop up.
Well, congratulations. I also too, you just recently had a 15-year anniversary. I saw that on Facebook.
Oh, I
So happy
did.
anniversary. Happy anniversary. Lord knows this COVID has put a lot of people are happy to be together after COVID. Excuse me. Not that COVID ain't over with, but
Right, but we still together. That's
we still together.
right. That's more so that
Yeah.
second part.
Yes. So
We made it.
I yeah, we made it. So I figured the same thing for my own wife. God bless her soul. So thank you, Shada, for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time to answer my DM on Twitter, and I really just appreciate you just being available.
Oh, you anytime. I would love to catch up with you more directly
Yes.
beyond the podcast. But this is cool.
Okay. Hey, and no problem. You know what? Also, too, we're looking to start some stuff where I'm at. So please just, feel free. It's all good.
Excellent. I definitely
All right.
will.
All right. Well, you have a great day.
You too. You too.